Nice spot over here in Bella Abzug Park. These fountains, it's kind of, relaxing sound. There's some music setting up. I was gonna do kind of like the reverse Highline walk today. Talk a little bit about this question of who killed Charlie Kirk. They caught this guy now, Tyler Robinson. But do we believe the FBI? They've had a lot of contradictory information. People might say, well, the fog of war, early moments of an investigation, it's hard to know. I agree with that. But hasn't the FBI sort of always lied to us about virtually everything? Would you believe someone that you knew lied to you consistently? A better question might be, why would you believe someone who lied to you consistently? It seems like something you should not do. So I wanted to analyze some of the things that they've, the evidence and some of the things they've said and some of the stuff that we've seen come up. It's also, I can't get it out of my head, this really upsetting feeling. It's growing, the amount of evidence, people doing kind of man on the street, person on the street videos, interviewing people, asking them, what do you think about this incident? Just the alarming number of people who are gleeful at the murder of a person. It's a troubling thought. Last week or so, a lot of people were outraged that nobody on that bus or the light rail metro in Atlanta, or where did that happen? North Carolina? Nobody was helping that Ukrainian girl, Irina Zarutska. Well, of course they weren't helping her. They were probably happy she was being killed. Look at how many people are reveling in the death. They're delighted. So look at this asshole honking like a maniac. How long ago was it that we were being told, we're all in this together. Put on a mask, give up your rights, inject yourself with some experimental thing, because we're all in this together. None of these people care about you or me. In fact, they want us dead. Look, that TMZ thing, and good on Laura Loomer, and there's somebody else, another woman who I don't know, but I saw, I guess on X or somewhere, she had investigated the video of this car chase that apparently the TMZ people were looking at, and exactly at the time, because you can calculate times on live streams, we're going to talk about that. She calculated the time that the news person broke into the car chase to tell everybody that Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead. And it exactly coincided to the minute with when all the people at TMZ cheered. Think about that for a second. It's bad enough that a person would be delighted to hear about the death of somebody. And then I've heard other people even saying, okay, let's say you can find it in your brain somewhere to justify being happy that Charlie Kirk is dead. What about his 3-year-old daughter? Some people I've heard saying, oh yeah, no, they're happy about that too. How can you be happy that a 3-year-old girl has had this greatest tragedy she could possibly have? But not only that sick, disgusting fact that people are delighted by it, you got a whole office full of people there who aren't embarrassed. Think about it. There might be thoughts that a person might hold deeply, but realize, that's not really appropriate, or maybe it's controversial, or maybe that's my opinion, but I'm going to be tactful and not share it with everybody. These are people who are confident enough that everybody around them is so comfortable with the idea of them that they literally spontaneously, I don't even think there's any thought to it, That's like their ingrained natural reaction. Of course they're not going to help a woman getting stabbed to death on the train. They're watching, they're like, I better get my phone out and go viral on this. It's unbelievable. I wanted to do this walk in reverse because we get to see, we got the sun setting here on the west side, Hudson Yards. everybody can kind of see what's going on as we talk about this. So Charlie Kirk, so the FBI comes out today and they say, oh, we got the guy. Very convincing story. His father turned him in with the minister. Really? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, these are the same people who told us it's Thomas Crooks, not interested in finding out what this is all about with Maxwell Urich. By the way, Dan Bongino is sufficiently aware of me that he blocked me on X, not from his FBI double D Dan, whatever the hell his FBI Twitter account is, but he knew what I was talking about to the extent that he didn't like me and he blocked me. Do you think they don't know? Yeah. Certainly Jack Posobiec knows what I was talking about with Maxwell Urich. Why didn't the FBI go to the Butler PD and say, hey, what's up with this Detective Gianvito, and let's see the photo on his iPhone? You know, we had Kash Patel did a press conference where he was saying, oh, we had historic great stuff thanks to the support of Trump. We got to listen to this. This is crazy. So, I mean, again, I haven't made any conclusions. I don't know who killed Charlie Kirk. I'm just saying I'm not going to listen to what the FBI says just because they say it. Let's listen to this segment from the press conference. I know a lot of people heard this, but let's listen for a second.
I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie.
33 hours. I mean, isn't that weird to anybody? There's a lot of new viewers, and thank you to people, especially I think a lot of people who've been following on X at JG_CSTT. Subscribe there, please. It's the only way that I earn money is by doing these videos and getting viewer sponsorship. There's no food supplements or gold vendors that I'm going to advertise. I don't get monetized on YouTube or anything like that, so please sponsor the show. Subscribestar.com, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth or crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or on X. But a lot of people are like, well, 33, what are you talking about, Jason? Is that like gematria? You know, some kind of code, numerology? No. He just said 33. And what I'm saying is, yes, code, it is some kind of code. I think it is a code. I think it's steganographic messaging, hiding a message in plain view. He goes on the news and does a public press conference, and maybe 99% of people will hear that and say, oh, yeah, the guy was shot a day ago, and now 33 hours later, you got the guy. FBI always gets their man. Doesn't matter if it's the right guy or not, they get him. And so I'm just saying, it strikes me that that is a number that indicates we've got some sort of deception going on. And now people will say, well, it's a Masonic number. I know. It's the age that Jesus was crucified. I know. I don't know where the meaning of this number comes from. I just sort of cite it when I see it pop up in places that seem suspicious. Why wouldn't he say in a little more than 24 hours, just over 30 hours, less than 2 days? So many different ways you could put that seem maybe a little bit more normal to me. It's just something so conspicuous about outright talking about 33 hours. And by the way, what the hell else is the president going to do with regard to the FBI? Not support it? You know, he's giving them resources and all that. There was another insane thing that Kash Patel said that I think kind of connects to that. Maybe fewer people caught this. But as far as I know, and again, I mean, I've had a mild level of interaction with Charlie Kirk, and that I've been to his events and things like that, and I watch him. I'm not watching every podcast he does and going to his every event, but I'm aware that he's a Christian guy who talks all about the Bible and Jesus, and That's his whole deal. So listen to this from Kash Patel.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Valhalla? I mean, isn't that a little bit weird? Is Kash Patel a Viking? Maybe he really likes Thor comic books. I don't know. That's weird. Kash Patel, I guess, is Indian. I would presume he's probably Hindu. He could be Christian. I don't know that much about religion. He doesn't look like a Viking to me. And Valhalla is that where Charlie Kirk believes he's going to be? It just struck me as so weird. And I was like, well, wait a minute, because what I just said about Valhalla is basically all I know. Uh-oh, what's going on? Am I frozen here? No, we're back, I think. That could have been overheat. That could have been overheat. Let's see if we can get this back here. That might have been an overheat situation. Have people still got me? It is pretty hot. Let's see if we can make this happen. Darn. Okay, there we go. Maybe we're back. Sorry, everybody. You never know. I was talking about Valhalla, and it got wonky on me. Where warriors rest. Well, maybe that's what he means, but it just seemed like a weird, I don't know, Charlie's not really a Viking warrior type guy. I mean, I would think a Bible quote would be more appropriate. Let's see if this comes back or if I've just lost my live stream. Am I back? Norse mythology, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And I wanted to get to that. So I didn't know too much about Valhalla, so I looked it up a little bit. And the first place I looked was Wikipedia. And of course that tells us that it's Norse mythology and blah, blah, blah. But then I also happen to know, right, Odin. But then it's also all that stuff with Odin and Norse mythology. It seems to be connected to, okay, it's back, good. Seems to be connected to paganism and occult stuff and Nazism. There was a whole Thule society that gave rise to the Nazis. And I'm always interested in kind of like what's behind the thing, right? When James Comey writes a book called A Higher Loyalty, what is he talking about? Because it doesn't seem to be the Constitution. So I said, well, what about Valhalla and Nazis? And I mean, again, people are going to need to look this up more because this is just somebody's, I don't know this person, this is a Substack page, but there's that Thor's hammer that was all over the place on January 6th. The what's his name? The American shaman or the QAnon shaman, whatever kind of shaman that guy is. He had the Thor's hammer tattooed on his belly, along with a lot of other Norse symbols. Maybe not exactly these, but this is talking about the Azov Battalion and modern Nazism and how it ties in. It mentions a guy who's 33. Do we see that? Ivan, whoever that guy is. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I'm asking questions here. But it was such a conspicuously weird thing for Kash Patel to say. And I mean, I guess sometimes he's a little bit dramatic. He kind of acted like an idiot on Joe Rogan. I think he is an idiot is part of the problem with Kash Patel. I don't think he's that smart, and I don't trust him at all. Everybody says, ooh, yes, Nazi ruins. Exactly, drummer. Stream is good now. Thank you. Good. I'm glad. I hate it when it cuts out like that. I got to work on even more ways to have buffering and robust recovery capability, but that struck me as really weird for Kash Patel to be talking about that stuff and the ties to, it's not like Kash Patel got in there, shut down the FBI building, said, okay, Ray Epps worked for the FBI, everybody from January 6th. I think people should follow Free State Will on X. He knows a lot about January 6th. He's one of the only January 6th defendants that I'm aware of that mounted a pro se criminal defense, and he didn't get pardoned. His case got dismissed. He beat the government. He fought City Hall and won, which is impressive. So that was Kash Patel. The other thing is, a lot of people saw, they released this video, which is a surveillance video. I'm glad they did that. It's got the time up there, 12:23 p.m. That's going to be mountain time in Utah, right? And this is the guy, somebody, running across the roof. It zooms in like this. Okay, and that's just a digital zoom. You can tell by the way it kind of pumped in right there. It might even be a function of this security system. That's just like expanding pixels. Whoop. I guess it's going to loop. But the guy, he jumps down. And a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute, where's the rifle? This rifle they showed us in a cardboard box in the woods they said it was a Mauser. And people know about how those things get assembled and disassembled. It didn't make a lot of sense to how he could jump off the roof with that rifle. People, I don't see it there. And then he's gonna reassemble it. I mean, first of all, the first thing that occurred to me is, why didn't the guy throw it down and then jump down? It's quite a high leap he takes from the roof. I zoomed in on this. Now, I want to caution people to be careful when you get these, enhanced videos from people. A lot of people are using all kinds of different tools to enhance videos that might be altering the video in ways that essentially destroy it as evidence. I mean, that happened with the first images of the suspect, where people were saying, oh, this is an enhanced image, and they had used AI to up-res it. So that uses all kinds of techniques that actually change certain aspects of the image. It's not suitable to be used as evidence once that's been done. And you might say, well, Jason, you just said you zoomed in on the video. How is it that you can zoom in and other people can't? Well, I'll tell you, is that the way I zoomed in on that video is just magnification. I didn't use any AI. I didn't change the speed. Be very careful when you see videos where the speed has been altered, because you see, we're living in a time where a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing have access to some pretty sophisticated tools that, when they aren't used properly, can introduce artifacts that essentially destroy the evidentiary value of any kind of photographic or video evidence that you might be evaluating. So the first thing you should be thinking when you see something that's enhanced, or looks different than the original video, even if they don't admit that it's enhanced, is, first of all, who manipulated this? What did they do to it? Do I know that source? Do I trust that source? If it's some unknown X account that says, like, oh yeah, this enhanced video this enhanced slow motion video shows us the guy has a rifle. When you do slow motion on things, lots of tools these days use optical flow. I've spoken about this before. It's essentially a form of artificial intelligence that anticipates certain things about the image and interpolates pixels and makes new data that is not always accurate. It's susceptible to all kinds of artifacts that can change the way the image look. When I'm doing this sort of stuff, I do it differently than I might if we were making a fictional movie. Those tools are great for fictional movies where the actual fact of what you're looking at doesn't matter. We want it to look better. Here, I'm just magnifying the existing pixels. I'm not making any new pixels. I haven't slowed this down. I just zoomed in on the frame. And somebody said to me, oh, he's got the gun in his pants. I mean, again, it's that Monty Python investigative journalism with the "can you find the fish?" And everyone's like, "Oh, it's in his trousers." How could you jump off a building with a rifle in your pants and not get stabbed and injured? I mean, it just doesn't seem very plausible to me. So that was another thing. The other thing, this is not so much evidence as it is just stomach turning. Somebody sent me this article from the reprehensible loser, Nina Jankowicz. Now, nobody should do anything to Nina, you see, because this is part of what they want to do, is they want to say, oh, because a lunatic murdered Charlie Kirk, you now can't even criticize Nina Jankowicz. Look at how she tries to make it about her. Her first thought was, oh, that could have been me. No, it wouldn't, Nina, because nobody cares about you. No one's going to do anything to Nina. She even says, she's like, oh, she hasn't been the victim of violence, but she's been stalked. She doesn't know stalking. Her little apparatchik, George's mentally ill brother, has been stalking and harassing me and my family for 8 years, and he's done actual harm. At her behest, to help her, violating my rights, taking my money, destroying my business. By the way, please sponsor the show. But so Nina feels the need, she says she mourns Charlie Kirk, but she's got to have a but. I don't even think she realizes what a psychopath she is. She's the type of person who is helping other people intellectually justify this type of reprehensible behavior. And this kid who's 22, think about what's gone on for the last 8 years. Since he was 14, how his twisted mind, if he's the one who did it, if he is the one who did it, we don't know. That's the other thing, is that they say, oh, we have a suspect, and everybody jumps to the conclusion, well, okay, put this guy, capital punishment. Wait a second, we haven't even definitively determined that he did it. They say he turned himself in. Well, okay, I don't know if that's true. We also just heard Kash Patel say that a gun was found in a cardboard box after the guy jumped off the roof with not really very clear evidence that he had a gun with him. And these are the same people who told us every bit of nonsense. Well, no, not Kash Patel, but the FBI, the same people who told us every bit of nonsense about Butler, PA. Here's my beef with Kash Patel, one beef. He rose to prominence because he was working for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, right? He was an investigator for them or something, working for Devin Nunes. And he's the one, he wrote the Nunes memo, did all the investigating, proving that Russia hacked. Devin Nunes was on Fox just the other day, and they were like, now Devin Nunes, we know that Russia hacked the DNC. And Devin Nunes was like, yep. It's like, no, we don't, Devin Nunes. There's no evidence that Russia hacked the DNC. The governor said he somewhat confessed. Okay, but I didn't hear the kid confess. And even if he did confess, wasn't there some guy a day ago who said, shoot me, shoot me? I'm saying we seem to have seen like maybe 3 or 4 different sort of decoy suspects, including they had that whole transgender person. What was the name? Not Valhalla, Valdez or something. So, I mean, yesterday everybody was ready to get out the gallows for that person. Now they're ready to get, what if they come back and say, well, he didn't actually confess, he confessed under duress, or he was on drugs, or this guy's mentally ill, and we checked his whatever and it proved that he didn't do it. The point I'm getting at is just because they say this guy did it, I'm not convinced that he did. There still are a lot of unanswered questions there. Some people are fixated by this notion that Charlie Kirk was wearing a bulletproof vest. People are arguing with me about that. I mean, my first question is, what's the difference? It obviously didn't work. If he was, I don't think he was. I don't claim to be a bulletproof vest expert. I have worn body armor, and I've owned a few different types of body armor. It's actually illegal. I had to get rid of it. Can't own body armor in New York anymore, but like I said, I'm not a body armor expert, but just in the way that you don't have to be a computer expert to decide, I want to go buy the best MacBook Pro that they make. You could do a little bit of research and figure out, or you want to get the best laptop or whatever, you could do a little bit of research and pretty easily get one of the best ones. And when I was buying a couple years ago body armor, people saw I was wearing it when I went shooting in the desert with John Cullen, and that's something we should talk about too, because that was, I think, 300 yards or something. We'd have to ask Cullen. But that was like the first time I ever shot a rifle. That was the first time I ever shot a rifle. I had only ever shot, I think, like, you know, skeet shooting. What is that? A pump action shotgun, a double barrel shotgun, whatever it is. And maybe a handgun. I've only gone shooting like 3 or 4 times. And that was definitely the first time I ever shot a rifle. John and other people who were watching the show were impressed that my first time out, we had a styrofoam head all the way down range. I was aiming right at the head, and I hit it in the jugular. So, you know, maybe what we saw yesterday or 2 days ago wasn't an expert aiming for the jugular. I saw a video of a guy who was a sniper who spoke very convincingly, and he said nobody trains anybody to aim for the neck. So I presumed incorrectly. They're aiming for the head, and because they're saying the guy was up high, it sloped down, it hit the neck. That's possible. When I was aiming in the desert, aim for the head, hit the neck. The point is, I was wearing body armor there, and when I showed up with it, I was surprised to see that Cullen, who is experienced and had a lot of expensive gun equipment, he had the same brand and kind of model of body armor that I have. I forget the name of the brand. It was 3A plus, whatever it is. You know, we were using the same kind of like lightweight, because it was like, for the time, the high-end body armor. And it's not that I have so much money, but when it comes to certain things, I'm not really interested in discount parachutes, discount scuba equipment, or discount body armor. I forget how much it cost, but it was a lot of money. And there was a time, like during the pandemic, where I was even wearing it around in New York City. And I'll say this, under a light jacket, it's difficult to tell that you're wearing it. But it looked to me like Charlie Kirk was wearing like a, I don't know if it was like rayon or nylon, one of these kind of synthetic materials, like a body armor kind of golf shirt or something. And there's one frame where there's like a wrinkle in the shirt that does make it look like there's something under there. But if you look at him walking around in other videos in the moments before the day, he's tossing t-shirts around and stuff, and the shirt is kind of like conforming to the contours of his body. I don't think he had any body armor under there. But whatever, even if he did, what is the difference? I don't understand why people insist on arguing about stupid stuff like that. But fact is, the guy was shot, and he's dead. And the real question is, who shot him and why? And so the thing that I just doubted immediately is that they have these ideological things inscribed on the gun and the bullet, and it's like, okay, maybe the guy, you know, saw the news about Luigi and decided he'll be clever and do that, or just maybe this is the way the FBI or whoever likes to go on TV talking about Valhalla and saying 33. Maybe they like to plant crazy stories to get people talking about nonsense, because that's what I think it was. So you can see the shirt puff up. Yes, I understand. And it didn't look like there was a vest. I agree. And he's not using a graphene vest. Here's the other thing. Charlie Kirk, people were saying, why didn't he have drones, and why didn't people check the roof and whatever? So Charlie Kirk is not the president of the United States. He wasn't. He wasn't a senator. He wasn't, you know, Elon Musk or somebody with billions of dollars. He was like, I'm sure, a millionaire. It was a big organization that he runs. But it's just entirely likely that that guy is paying for his own security. And I mean, the people that you see are working his security are like, you know, guys standing next to him while he's under the tent, so that if somebody bum rushes the show, they're there to like beat them up. And maybe have like a concealed carry handgun like Elon Musk's guys had outside of Twitter. I don't think they're really prepared for like complex anti-sniper. I just don't think that's the type of security that somebody like that would have in place. And, you know, you look at something like this in hindsight and you can say, why didn't they have that? You know, I just don't think he would have thought that this would have happened, or even if he thought that it could have happened, like Nina Jankowicz there with her stupid, like, oh, that could have been me. She said when we were in court that when I was in Washington, D.C. for January 6th, she tried to get this over in her stupid lawfare thing against me to try to get her restraining order reinstated. She's like, well, even though he was outside of the disallowed area, I was afraid, so my family and I had to leave our house and take additional security steps. So, okay, because you're a paranoid lunatic, even though I'm following the unconstitutional restraining order that you and George Webb's fucking mentally ill, wife-swapping, hog-fucking, paperclip Nazi brother illegally put in place, because of all that, something should happen to me? So that's, I mean, in trying to figure out who did this to Charlie, I mean, I don't know. But why? I mean, it goes back to this whole Thule Society Nazi deal. And these sort of like Norse symbols that get co-opted by that. A lot of people have said like, oh, how could there be Nazis in Ukraine? The president is Jewish. It's like, well, see, that's where the trick is. Just because a guy is Jewish doesn't mean he's not a psychopath. And if he's a psychopath and some Nazis say, hey man, why don't you be our front man? You could be the president and you'll get millions of dollars. All you got to do is preside over the death of all these people and you'll do fine. It's kind of the same mentality as these folks who are delighted that Charlie Kirk got murdered. They don't care what happens to you, your kids, your family. They themselves want everything to go great for them. So people said, oh, why didn't they just, don't you have a $400 drone? You could put up a drone. I don't think that's how that works. I'm, again, not a security professional, but you don't just have one person like flying a drone and suddenly everything is okay. It seems like you'd need to have coordination with a team. And I mean, just one drone? Well, what if you're flying it over here and the guy comes up over there? It's just, and I mean, what kind of personal executive security is even equipped to do that? It just sounds very specialized to me. But this question of drones, it's a good question because people might have seen earlier today, someone did send me a video saying, hey, Jason, there's a drone. So let's have a look at this.
Apparently there's been a shooting.
So I put the GigaSync back in action, and we had some problems here as compared to Butler because we don't have a continuous broadcast like we did in Butler. Remember, we had Right Side Broadcasting was doing the whole entire event there in Butler, and we didn't have that for this. So let's see, did that play the whole way through? I kind of want that to play again. I want people to see that again. But watch this.
Apparently there's been a shooting.
Look at the inset. We see there's like 5 frames. It looks like a drone to me. Some people say it's a bee or a bird. I don't know. And so I've got that time code inset up there, but that was actually a mistake. What I was getting at is because I don't have any broadcast network that was there with a SMPTE time code burned in, we had a very unique circumstance in Butler because it was the presidential rally. You had Right Side Broadcasting. They had a time of day clock burned on screen, so I was able to extrapolate SMPTE time code for the whole entire day and map every other video to that time code. Now I got that video, somebody just sent it to me and said, hey, this guy posted a live stream. And I downloaded it and I extracted those frames and I tried to figure out what time of day it was, but I made a mistake. So that was showing that it was well after the shooting. Now logically, as I watched it back, the guy says, ooh, there seems to have been a shooting. And that obviously suggests it just happened. People didn't even realize, you know, Charlie had been shot. But then later, I connected with the guy on X, and he sent me this metadata that showed that he started recording. There it is. That's his video, and it shows the location where he was recording it, the details, the frame rate, etc. It shows that he started recording at 12:04 p.m. And so what I realized was the guy had done a live stream, and this is super strange, just like I just experienced. At the moment that Charlie was shot, this guy's live stream cut out. I don't know that anybody's really spoken about that yet. Maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know. But luckily, that guy was also recording, and so he posted the recording. That's where I got the frames from. I went to his live stream later and saw that it was all garbled and jumbled. But basically, after I figured all that out, I was able to correct the issue, and I posted a new frame that showed that flying object was recorded less than 1 minute after Charlie was shot. There's the follow-up frame. Charlie is shot approximately 12:23, and this thing is photographed 12:23 and 52 seconds. Now, I don't have down to the second and down to the frame accuracy. That looks like a drone to me. You know? I mean, like I was saying, just the nature of the recording devices and the fact that we didn't have a continuous broadcast there with a burned-in time of day. We don't know to the second, but it's within a minute that drone or whatever it is, if it's a bee, it's seen flying around. Now, so I had a little bit of interaction with this other account. I don't know who operates this OSINT Technical, but this was one of the first people to have video. I sent him the thing and he said, it's a bug. He responded right away, he said, it's a bug. I said, no, I'm sorry, look again. He said, it looks like a bee. I mean, does that look like a bee to you? It doesn't look like a bee to me. There's a bee, much higher resolution photo. It doesn't look anything like a bee. And the other strange thing is, why is this account responding to me right away? I had sent a number of things to that account previously, never wrote back. This drone, or whatever it is, OSINT, whatever that is, he wrote back right away to say, no, that's not a drone. Weird, right? Now, I don't have any indication who the manufacturer of that drone might be, but it seemed to be a very fast-flying drone. What do people in the comments think? Have people seen that before? Is that a drone? Drone monitoring. Well, I'm not saying that it's a drone strike. A lot of people think could a drone be shooting at Charlie? No. I think that was a rifle shooting at Charlie. Shooting guns from a drone, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's a very complicated thing, and that's a small drone. I think drones like that can carry sensors like cameras, transmitters like radios and things, and they can detect infrared light and, you know, signal different things. You know, I don't know, it just made me think. People said that they saw various individuals. Oh, this is closed again today. Can we go down this way? Certain people saw individuals standing behind Charlie doing what looked like making hand signals. Maybe that's possible. And they say, nah, it can't be hand signals. The shooter can't see the hand signals. Well, maybe they're hand signals for somebody other than the shooter. Maybe it's a hand signal for somebody to get on the radio, or someone who's operating a drone, or who knows, I don't know. I'm just saying, how come the FBI isn't telling us about this? What is that flying around there? And who is this unknown 1 million follower OSINT Defender account that right away says no, instead of, yeah, that's pretty curious, what is that? I mean, I found some other images of things that look more like that drone than a bee. This is a high-speed drone, not from Anduril, nothing to do with Palmer Luckey. This is from Neth Lab. I don't know what the hell this company is. I just found this today. But they make a high-speed drone that's got all kinds of applications for military stuff, Near Earth Laboratory. They got all kinds of different stuff, these people. Then we had, you got medical, military, surveillance. This is a drone from Korea, Kaiden. Similar in design to what Palmer Luckey did, but different. This is the design of the week. This is a bunch of students who made this drone to try to monitor I think the Indianapolis 500. But the notion that 200-mile-per-hour drones exist, they're more common now than they were a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 years ago. And so what was that? As if people say, oh, it's a bug. How do you know it's a bug? You definitely don't know what it is. I could think of a lot of reasons why it's not a bug. That guy's got an hour and 9 minutes of footage. Why are there only 5 frames out of 140,000 that seem to show a bug or a bird? Is there only one bug or bird around? And why is it so clearly imaged? I can tell you that photographing bugs and birds in flight, it's complicated. And then people say, oh, but Jason, you don't understand how iPhone cameras work. I think I do, probably better than most people. And I know that they reduce the shutter time to adjust the exposure and that that's going to freeze action. And I'm taking all of that into account when I'm looking at this, and I still say that looks like a drone to me. And it's weird that a 1 million follower OS int defender, who is that person? Everybody knows who I am. I'm explaining to you how this research gets done. What is going on in here? That OS int defender, he's operating in a very kind of opaque sort of way. It's a weird guy. So I think that's a drone. I don't know what it's doing there. I don't know who put it there. I'm just observing that. And why isn't the FBI talking about that? The thing that's so interesting about it is we've now got, I don't know, is it a pattern? I guess it's a coincidence if it's only happened twice, but we see drones flying around Donald Trump within a minute after shots or what appear to be drones. And we get people who seem unlikely to interact with me, like Palmer Luckey, coming out and saying, you're a retard, that's not a drone. All right. People are saying this guy seems like a patsy. Sherry says it looks like a drone to her. I say it looks like a drone as well. RR says, could it be a hoax? What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting could Charlie Kirk still be alive? I don't really think so. I don't think so. There were a lot of people around there. They took him to the hospital. They pronounced him dead. I don't think it's a hoax, if that's what you mean. I mean, again, I appreciate people's enthusiasm, but yeah, Tim says if it's a bird or a bee, it's damn fast. That's what I'm saying. It's one of these drones that I think is very small and designed to fly around like 100, 200 miles an hour, doing surveillance, transmitting signals, doing something. I don't know, maybe it's a LiDAR drone, maybe it's part of a larger system that's involved in something complicated about this that they don't want us to know. I don't know, but how is it that all these millions and billions of dollars are getting spent on the FBI and the amount of time it takes them to tell us, oh, it's these 4 different guys? And why haven't they said anything about this thing flying through the air? Why haven't they interrogated all of these weird accounts on Twitter that I'm looking at? I mean, they have to see it. Why don't they ask me? You know, like I said, even on Butler, we had all this very compelling evidence going back to the probability, the high probability, that Detective Gianvito had something in his phone that suggested that somebody else was on the roof. Why did they ask him to show the evidence? Why did the state attorney, the Commonwealth attorney there, whatever that woman is, I forget her name even, why are they working so hard to prevent me from even seeing that evidence? Just show it. Prove that I'm wrong. Why would this unknown account that never responded to me before today say, no, it's a bee? I mean, you've got to be kidding. That is not a bee. Let's look at it again. Doesn't look
Apparently
like
there's been a shooting.
1 minute after the fact. Look at that. There's a lot of frames in there that look very drone-ish to me. Right? And this guy, so look at this. I sent it to him this morning at 10:35 a.m. and after several previous DMs that never got responded to, 4 minutes later, he just says bug. I say, sorry, no, look closer. It just doesn't look like a bug. It looks like a bee. It doesn't look like a bee. A bee would not image that clearly on a camera like that from far away. It's just not the way that sort of thing works. This image here is taken with a large sensor camera, very high shutter speed, very long telephoto lens, specialized insect photographer. That thing that we just saw looks much more like something like this to me. I mean, am I imagining this? I don't think so. So obviously anybody who knows about this kind of thing, they're not telling us, right? How high-speed drones would be used in coordinated military assassinations, if that's what we're looking at. So who would do that and why? Is it just this 22-year-old kid on the roof? I don't think so. And I mean, I just don't understand why we're even questioning, does he have a rifle in that other video? You know, some people say, oh, well, maybe it looks like he has a rifle when we looked at an AI-enhanced video, which this is not. This is just the normal speed, 300% blow up of the video. He's got a bag or something. He's got something there, but everybody seems to think that the rifle he was using would not fit in that bag, and that if he disassembled it, you know, this is seconds later that he's leaving the roof. He basically shoots and leaves. It's a mystery for sure. But now, just like with JFK, there are other things too that are similar. Let's just talk about this and Butler. They came out initially and they were like, here's a picture of this transgender music performer, Sky Valdez or whatever. They have a crooks. They want to right away confuse everybody with 4 different suspects who are not the suspect, then decide that, you know, justice for Charlie. Nobody should do that, by the way. Nobody should ever do anything based on anything that I say, except for sponsoring the show on subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth or crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. There's a model lounge with this Lexus. Where's that? Or you could also follow me on X at JG_CSTT and subscribe there. All of that helps me a lot. People like Nina Jankowicz are trying to end this show. It's interesting. I don't want to talk about this too much, but there's going to be legal action taken against Nina. That's all I ever do with her. See, so back to who killed Charlie. And the reason I've been talking about Valhalla and the Nazi symbology and everything is because I don't believe what they told us about the Nazis in World War II either. And that's not to say I think the Nazis were nice guys. Obviously they're evil. But it's who is behind that? And what is the relationship between that and its opposed forces, right? It seems to me like what they want is to just polarize everybody. And so maybe that's why they killed Charlie. And that's why they're telling us, oh yeah, transgender writing on the gun and the bullets, and you know, they just want everybody fighting. And look at what it's done. We have all these people who are in their 20s who are literally celebrating the death of another human. Not just that, I mean, it was brutal. It's not like you just heard the guy died. People saw it, and this same video that Life is Driving is the guy who made that video on Twitter. Life is Driving. In his video, the second the shots hit, people run away, and somebody did a freeze frame on a girl who's smiling. So, I mean, again, that is her instinct. We have got like an entire generation of psychopaths who have been bred to delight in the murder of a fellow human. It's incredible. It's scary. So, I mean, I'm not amazed. Do you think those people would help you on a train if you were being attacked? I mean, not only that, anybody decent who might have the instinct to help you if you were being attacked saw what happened to Danny Penny, and they're thinking, I don't want to go to jail to help somebody I don't even know. So it just seems like another step in this effort to polarize society and turn everybody against each other. Baccarat. What is this? Oh, it's like an Instagram stand. What's going on there? I don't know. I mean, I'm just obviously spitballing here, but why would this kid do that? I mean, now they're saying that he had a 4.0 grade point average and a scholarship to college. Does that sound like somebody who's going to go do murder? Doesn't he have a future ahead of him? Why would he do that? Crazy people do crazy things, but I don't know. There's just so many. I've never seen that before. You got an optometrist on the street. Just so many people doing so many crazy things. It's like the world doesn't. I've never seen that before. You got an optometrist on the street. Just so many people doing so many crazy things. It's like the world. Well, let's see. Time when in Apple, so let me keep an eye on the signal and see if we get disrupted. See, it's interesting. It seems like there is some technology afoot, and I wonder how compact it might be that would allow certain people and certain devices. Maybe the function of that drone was to disrupt that guy's live stream. Maybe it was flying orbital circles, blasting out a signal. I don't know. Seems like you'd need a lot of power to put out a radio signal that would disrupt a live stream, but I don't know. I'm not a radio expert. It is a mighty huge coincidence that the moment Charlie is shot, Life is Driving, his live stream gets disrupted. Did somebody want him to not record the moment that Charlie was shot? We got to analyze that more closely. But it's weird. It seems similar to that kid coming up to me in Washington Square Park and maybe doing a Bluetooth attack. Maybe that drone could probably do a low power, what is it called? I think it is like Bluetooth low power or something. Do people know what that is? Like those little iPhone discs, what do they call it? Apple AirTags. Bluetooth, let's look it up here. I guess it's just low power Bluetooth. Don't really know. Bluetooth low energy, that's it. So is that thing out there broadcasting tons of Bluetooth low energy packets that somehow disrupt a live stream? And they just don't want people to record? They know people are going to be live streaming, but if they have 100 people recording the incident versus 2, maybe there's just less evidence. I don't know. Again, I'm spitballing. These are guesses. I'm just looking at evidence and trying to put things together. But it looks like a drone to me. And there's some suspicious accounts who you would think, if they are what they purport to be, open source intelligence account on Twitter, it would say, hey man, that's an interesting video. Let me look at it a bit more, or let me post it and have 1 million people look at it and we'll see what we think, instead of 4 minutes saying, oh, that's a bug. Sounds like somebody who doesn't want to investigate that. doesn't it? Should we check out Twitter? They're not here anymore on 17th Street, I'm pretty sure. Back to the comments. What do people think about all this? Fixed cams don't fly. Cui bono? Well, it's an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. I don't know, but it's a question you could ask about a lot of things. You know what I was thinking about? Lisa Cook. What the hell are you talking about, Jason? How does Charlie Kirk's murder connect to Lisa Cook? Well, the same kind of disruptive assholes like Nina Jankowicz, who want to get rid of the First Amendment and essentially destroy the fabric of the United States of America, they want to fight against Trump, and they don't care who gets hurt, whether it's Charlie Kirk or you or me or everybody in Ukraine. They don't care. And what's happening with Lisa Cook, you know, is they've brought that into court and have succeeded in getting a temporary restraining order preventing Trump from doing anything to effectuate her removal. It doesn't just say he can't fire her. They've got all the bases covered. He can't do anything to effectuate her removal until there's a hearing and there's a whole process. Now, Trump has appealed that, but we've got this OMFC, Open Market Forecast Conference or something, and there's a vote of the Fed. And obviously Lisa Cook wants to vote in some way that Trump doesn't want, that some people think could have catastrophically negative effects on the economy. And that's going to hurt everyone. But the reason they want to do this is because they want to cause Trump to fail. And I was thinking about this. It's like, you know, when Biden got elected, I was very upset about it. But my thought wasn't, oh, we have to destroy Biden. I said, well, look, we're going to work with this guy and try to make the best of it. It's like if you were on a boat or an airplane and the captain was an asshole. Aren't you going to say, well, you know what, I'm going to just tolerate this guy and do what I need to do to get through this in the best way possible and hope we land and everything is all right? Or do you say, oh no, we're going to destroy the captain? That's what they're trying to do. And I mean, this is, again, I'm just spitballing. I don't know why they would do this, but look at the disruption that it's causing. They knew that Charlie Kirk was I mean, there really hasn't been anything like this since the assassination of Robert Kennedy. And I say that because Robert Kennedy, in a lot of ways, was a symbol to a younger generation. And, you know, of course he had enemies for his views on various things, political enemies. But he basically was saying, look, you know, we want America to succeed and we want, you know, diplomacy and peace in the world.
Oh, I know exactly.
And I think he was a pretty religious guy, you know. Charlie was just trying to, you know, get people politically invigorated and really work against all this indoctrination of the transgender agenda and all of this rhetoric that makes everybody revel in the death of another person. And I guess they figured it's also, you know what it reminded me of? Archduke Ferdinand, right? I don't know that much about that guy, but they say killing him started World War I, right? So they want some sort of spark to light the tinder that creates a civil war. They're always doing that, aren't they? Agitating things like this. I mean, this is all I can think of, because it doesn't make sense to me that a kid with a 4.0 average from a family like that is going to decide to go up on a roof. Setting aside the killing of Charlie Kirk, isn't that guy going to anticipate that he's going to go to jail and that the rest of his life is over? I mean, it's essentially committing suicide, isn't it? And I guess I shouldn't even say that, because now they might do something to the video, but the guy is choosing to end his own life as he knows it, isn't he? It just doesn't make sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. And then when I see evidence here that just smacks of exactly what we saw in Butler, which didn't make any sense, I wonder, why is it not making sense? And you know what? It is the same people. Because Dan Bongino, remember, Cullen very early on saw that bullet trajectory, and Eli Crane, who is a congressman from Arizona and retired military, I think he was a sniper. He certainly knows about guns. And that's the thing, when people see evidence that is familiar to them, it resonates. So Eli Crane saw that, and he brought it up during a live stream with Dan Bongino. And just like this OS int defender, Dan Bongino didn't say, "That's interesting. I see that there. I don't know what that is. Let's investigate that further." No, they suppressed that. Same with Jack Posobiec. I mean, if these guys are independent journalists who want to buck the system and go against the grain of the corporate journalist, you know, all these corporate-owned mainstream media things, why are they pushing narratives rather than pursuing evidence and facts? It doesn't make sense. But now those guys are essentially surrounding Trump, controlling the FBI, controlling the narrative. So why? Why not look at this? You know, they're going to say, this is the kid. Something stupid is going to happen. You know what? It might even already be happening. When I left the apartment to start this live stream, they said, oh, the police are surrounding this guy's house in Utah. Yeah, Spider is saying if you posted that you enjoyed someone's death, you would be out of a job yesterday. Well, I know, but yet we have so many people doing that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that insane? People are going on their own public internet accounts on TikTok and whatever, and like happily making videos about how delighted they are about this. That's what I'm saying. It goes beyond just being delighted about it. It shows you that that's where we're at with society, that these people have the confidence. I mean, it's like they have the confidence that everybody else is going to be all right with it too. It just seems like an incredibly dangerous climate. Yeah, people got fired. Well, I mean, so you know what? It's one thing. Remember when that lady last week or 2 weeks ago yelled at the father and took the home run ball from the little kid? I think it's one thing to say, oh, good, I'm glad that lady lost her job. She'll learn a lesson, you know? That's not like irrevocable harm. I think she could probably get another job or change her hair and move to another town, move in with her family. I mean, it's not like she's lost her life. You know, even if someone says to her, hey, you know what? You're going to have to take a year off and go reflect on what an asshole you are and come back and get a job in a year somewhere else. It's different. Hand Job Films. That place is run by a jerk. We used to deal with him back in the day. It's gotten big. But, yeah, truly terrible people reveling in and celebrating the death of another person and the destruction of his family and everything he stood for. I mean, just that moment, I don't know how people could look at that. That's another thing I wanted to say. Some people were finding conspiracy theories because they're like, wait a minute, Charlie was shot at 12:28, and now this guy's running away at 12:23. No, what happened was, and this is why I'm always saying, hey, if you know the original uploader of this video, please put me in touch. That hasn't happened with that close-up of Charlie getting shot. What happened was, Charlie appears to have been shot at right around 12:23, local time in Utah. That person on that phone did a screen capture of their own video, it looks like, 5 minutes later, and then just put an edited clip of that video out. It's like a 2-minute and 39-second video, and you see it's 23 seconds into a 2-minute and 39-second video, or something like that, and they're just doing a screen capture. That's why you don't normally see the time in a video that you record on your phone. It's a screen capture. I guess it's a Samsung phone doing like a screen recording of a video playing back on that phone. So I'm getting a little broken up over here. And that was done about 5 minutes later and then uploaded. I don't know why that person doesn't upload the full video, but again, it could just be that people don't understand digital media that well. That's true, most people don't. That might not be malicious, but it could also be that if there's some bigger plot here to kill Charlie, that person, maybe the hand signals were to whoever was recording that video and saying, hey, start rolling now, or something. Or maybe you have 2 or 3 people positioned in the audience, you hand signal them to start rolling on the video. The drone is flying, that's coordinating something. The guy shoots, the video is recorded, the screen capture with the wrong time on it goes out. Maybe these things are coincidental, or maybe this is a heavily coordinated information warfare. I don't know. This isn't a conclusion. This is a walking around in the street 2 days after this happened, looking at the evidence and trying to make some sense of it. I could be wrong. These are all my opinions. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. These things I'm saying haven't been proven beyond a doubt in court. A lot of people might look at this same evidence and come to a different conclusion. Allegedly, he was radicalized. Well, of course, allegedly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a message that they want everyone to take away from this. And if I had to guess right now, that is why Charlie was killed. Because they're sending a message that if you are effective at moving the needle and changing the narrative, they're going to stop you. That seems to be clear, and we know who's doing that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Please sponsor the show so I can keep doing this. Get onto subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. It's one of the only things in America that hasn't gone up in price. For only $5 a month, you keep this show going, get a lot of sponsor exclusive content. You can also go to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or you can follow me on X at JG_CSTT and subscribe there. Thanks to everybody who is sponsoring the show.